Good morning, everybody. I hope everybody is well this morning. Welcome to Affiliate Windows' fourth strategy team webinar. And today we're talking about Affiliate Windows cross-device tracking solution. My name is Anthony Clements. This webinar is going to last about 30 minutes. And afterwards, we are going to make it available on our strategy hub. This is quite an interesting and hopefully fairly complex topic. So if anybody has any questions that they would like to ask as we're going through, please don't hesitate to do so. I'll try and get through as many answers as I can. And if I can't answer any of your questions as we're going through, we'll do a little roundup at the end and put it on our blog, where I'll try and answer some of the other questions, particularly if they're more in depth. So without further ado, we'll get started. For those of you that don't know, Affiliate Window launched cross-device tracking technology, or introduced cross-device tracking technology onto the network in March 2015. It really has been one of our leading product releases of the year, and it's generated a huge amount of interest from the affiliate community in what I think is the first cross-device tracking solution of its type to be launched by any affiliate network, certainly in the UK. We've currently got more than 100 advertisers that are actually making use of cross-device tracking, having integrated over the last 6 months, which we're hugely pleased about. And we get so much interest around this topic. Lots and lots of questions get posed to us about our cross-device tracking solution. And the purpose of today's webinar is really to try and answer some of those questions. We're not going to be able to cover them all in huge detail, but hopefully we'll be able to give people a little bit more background on the three key things that really get asked, which one of them is obviously why we think it's so important or why we did it. The second and probably most telling one is how does it work? And while we can't give away too many trade secrets, we're hopefully going to give a little bit more insight into that. And then the third one, of course, is how it's doing and what kind of data we're getting out of it. So hopefully we'll be able to give you guys a bit of an overview. Before I actually start or go any further, what I will say is that at Affiliate Window, we believe cross-device tracking is actually as much about the survivability and actually the long-term viability of affiliate marketing as it is really about innovation. And hopefully, that's one of the things that will come across or will come over as we go through today. I actually think this statement sums up better than most others the principle that underpins the need for cross-device tracking, not only in our industry, but in all online marketing. It comes from Google. It comes from a study that they did. 90% of smartphone users have used their phone to make progress toward a long-term goal or multi-step process while out and about. And the key takeaway from this statement really is this multi-step process, because that's actually exactly what our cross-device tracking technology aims to capture. It's undoubtedly, and we'll hopefully show some other stuff that proves this, that e-commerce for online shoppers is now a multi-step process that now contains multiple devices. And the purpose of us developing cross-device tracking technology this year is really to ensure that our solution is robust enough to take account of the fact that e-commerce is now multi-step and multi-device. And I think that's especially important for a company like us, an affiliate network, where cost per acquisition, where our model is based on cost per acquisition and premised on rewarding publishers based on the actions of a user. You can't talk about cross-device tracking and the need for it without talking about device usage in the UK. And it was looking at these studies from Deloitte that they bring out every year that really hit it home to us that cross-device tracking was needed. And that's really the proliferation of smartphone and tablet usage throughout the UK. This is actually UK device usage by type over the last 4 years. And one of the key things to note is that laptop usage has remained pretty static over the last 4 years, while smartphone and particularly tablet usage has absolutely exploded. And this, more than anything else, underlines the fact that tracking needs to be multi-device, and e-commerce is now multi-device. If e-commerce shoppers stayed on one device all the time, it would be fine. There would have been no need for us to put in the 18 months of work that we've done to develop and launch cross-device tracking. But as we'll see in a moment, they just don't do that. Not only is smartphone and tablet usage growing, but the use of these three devices in conjunction to make online purchases is growing massively. And because of that, it's made the development of cross-device tracking one of the most important and key things for us to do this year. So because we know that device usage and mobile device usage across the UK is growing, the other thing that we had to know or had to be sure about before we developed cross-device tracking was that the usage of devices in conjunction was also growing significantly. And this is actually taken, these next couple of things are taken from Google's work on cross-device tracking that they've done. And one of the key things they talk about, which I think is really, really important to the cross-device tracking discussion, is the idea of multi-screening, which is now hugely prevalent across most developed internet users in the UK. So while we know that mobile and device usage is growing generally from the Deloitte study, we also know that the idea of multi-screening is growing massively. And these two things combined really nailed it on for us that we had to do cross-device tracking, and we had to develop a robust technology that could be easily integrated into our network. With multi-screening, there are two key concepts that I wanted you guys to understand. Sequential usage, which is moving from one device to another at different times to accomplish a task. So in this example, researching what car you want to buy on a mobile device and then buying it on a laptop device. And then, of course, the other one is simultaneous usage, which is using more than one device at the same time for either a related or, which is much more common, an unrelated activity. And the best example I can give of this is at home watching the football while playing a computer game on your iPad. For our cross-device tracking debate, it's actually sequential screening that we really want to focus on and want to talk about, because it's this sequential use of multi-devices that our cross-device tracking technology, or that any cross-device tracking technology, is aiming to record. Of internet users today, Google tells us that 90% use multiple screens sequentially to accomplish a task. And there's a high likelihood that one of these tasks will be shopping online. And when you think about that, it really hits it home that if you can't track that sequential usage of devices back to the same user, you can't really track anything online at all. Also, I found interesting that 98% of those people move between devices in the same day. So not only is sequential screening very, very common, it also happens very, very quickly. And again, when we were thinking about the type of solution that we needed to develop, that thought was very much in the front of our minds. All these things really make it clear to us that the idea of a single device tracking solution is just no longer relevant for affiliate marketing, for performance marketing, for online marketing, for tracking online. Because the internet user of today is very, very different. And that means a very, very different tracking solution is needed to ensure a robust business model for the future. The other thing that came into our minds quite a lot before we developed cross-device tracking, or the other why question, was really the growth in mobile traffic on our own network. We've looked at a couple of things there that were studies done by other companies, but we were also looking at a lot of our own data before we finally knew that at the start of this year that cross-device tracking, we needed to deploy it and needed to deploy it quickly. And I'll give you just some background on this, because these stats are both quite impressive and quite frightening at the same time. Almost 50% of affiliate Windows traffic originated from mobile devices during Q2 2015, which is hugely significant. We publish a lot of mobile stats and mobile data on the network, and we do that because we wanted everybody, both ourselves, our clients, our publishers, to track the development and growth in mobile usage over time. Because at some point we knew it was going to reach a critical period where something had to be done, something had to be changed to ensure our model was well set up and protected against any issues from it in the future. And I think that more than anything else underlines the importance of making sure your tracking technology works across mobile devices. Interestingly enough, 48% of network traffic originated from mobile devices, and that was up from 34% at the same time last year. But the number of sales that the network tracks on mobile devices is still under 30%, and is now growing. That percentage gap is decreasing since we've rolled out cross-device tracking. The reason for that gap is a few things. Obviously, mobile devices don't tend to convert as well. There are some inherent difficulties in buying certain products on mobile devices, but undoubtedly that gap has also been caused by the inability of all online tracking solutions to be able to track cross-device conversions effectively. And now that we have the cross-device solution in place, I'd expect that gap to narrow even further. Also, another interesting takeout on this is that smartphone traffic, so just phone traffic across affiliate window, is now 2.5 times higher than it was 2 years ago. And again, it highlights just the significant growth in the way users are accessing our links and the way users are accessing publisher sites, because traffic for us is click-throughs from publisher sites. So much of the traffic that we are seeing is now accessed via a mobile device, via a smartphone or a tablet, and that's really something for our publishers to take away as much as it is for us. So that was the research that we did. That was the why. That was what put us in a place to to think that we needed to do something about our tracking to ensure that we could record and reward publishers in a cross-device environment. But let's have a look at this single device tracking problem in a little bit more detail. I mentioned earlier that I think single device tracking solutions are redundant now, and this is the fundamental reason why. In the morning, this would be a common journey. On the train, a user on their iPad goes to a publisher site, in this case, Camera Price Buster, and clicks through to Currys. At that point, the click-through, some affiliate tracking is activated to know that that journey has taken place from a publisher site to an advertiser site. But as is quite common, on the iPad, on the train, squished between lots of other commuters, no purchase takes place at that time. It could then be very common that when we get to the nighttime, the user goes directly via their laptop to Currys and makes a purchase. And in this secondary situation, the user hasn't returned to Camera Price Buster. They don't need to. They know what camera they're going to buy, and they know what price point they're going to buy it at. And in this situation, the affiliate wouldn't be rewarded because the sales happen on 2 different devices and the affiliate tracking has only been activated on 1 device. And it's this journey that our cross-device tracking aims to track. And it's this journey that single device tracking solutions, which includes pretty much every other affiliate network tracking solution out there, lots of other online marketing tracking solutions that are out there at the moment, just can't reward and just can't track. And it's this fundamental journey that we wanted to try and solve with our own cross-device tracking solution. So we know why and we know what we want to do. The next part of our process in developing cross-device tracking was deciding how to do it. And at this point, we faced quite a major decision. And that was whether to look at a deterministic cross-device tracking solution or a probabilistic cross-device tracking solution. And these 2 methodologies effectively separate the broad category of tracking solutions that can be used on the market today. I'll explain in a little bit more detail the difference between the two. A deterministic cross-device tracking solution uses specific, normally first-party data provided normally by a user to create links or matches between devices. And to give you an example, this is the method commonly used by the likes of Google and Facebook, who rely on users logging in to their platforms in order to create cross-device linkage. A deterministic method definitively identifies the user in some way. And what's key about deterministic cross-device tracking methodologies is that there's no assumptive calculations are made. There's no guesswork in deterministic tracking. You know that you've identified a user and that you know a transaction has been placed by that user on that device. Normally, deterministic tracking relies on users logging in across multiple devices, and normally it relies on cookies to identify those users. Probabilistic, on the other hand. Probabilistic cross-device tracking collates a number of anonymous data points. Some examples might be device type, location, operating system, and it matches these together and uses statistical algorithms to create likely matches between devices. And probabilistic solutions are generally the type of cross-device tracking solution used by third-party providers. There's no user identification. It is cross-platform compatible, probabilistic cross-device tracking, but it's also very assumptive. To some degree, it makes guesses. And we had a decision to make about which camp we would fall in at Affiliate Window. These are the key things that we thought about. The need to use user data was a key consideration. Deterministic does use user data in some way. Probabilistic doesn't. Accuracy was a key thing for us. In deterministic cross-device tracking solutions, they're 100% accurate. Probabilistic cross-device tracking solutions, it depends what type of research you read, but between 60% and 90% accuracy are the accuracy levels quoted by most companies that do probabilistic cross-device matching. And then there was the reach. Because inherently you need to be absolutely sure of user identification with deterministic cross-device tracking, it has much lower reach. Probabilistic cross-device tracking can reach many more users. And it was at this point, having weighed up these things, that we needed to decide which one to use for us. And Affiliate Window's cross-device tracking method is deterministic. The reason that we went for that method is because of its accuracy. As an affiliate network that's rewarding transactions to publishers based on actions of a user, we have to be absolutely sure that those actions have taken place. So the accuracy point was an absolutely key point for us. I'll give you a quick insight into the problem of probabilistic. Try saying that fast. We've got a user on an iPhone, goes to a coffee shop. Probabilistic cross-device tracking would probably look at these three things in order to make a match. Type of internet connection, type of operating system, and the location. Totally different user, totally different device, totally unrelated people, same coffee shop, same three things. And this is likely to create an incorrect device match between these two people. How could that affect affiliate marketing? Well, this person goes to a cashback site and then goes to an advertiser. This person, straight to the advertiser. This bottom purchase would probably be linked back to this first user. So we'd probably assign, even though there's no affiliate interaction in the second path, a probabilistic method would assign an affiliate sale to the publisher, and also in this case most probably assign cashback to this user's account. It's messy and it's likely to lead to incorrect transactions being tracked. How does deterministic cross-device tracking solve this? Every time somebody gets to the advertiser website, we're able to identify the user and make a split between which user it is. We create unique user profiles that are specific to that user and that device, which means we can be absolutely sure of who the user is and who the device is. And those are the differences between the two solutions. And it was the inherent accuracy and deterministic that led us to develop our cross-device tracking solution in this way. You can't talk about deterministic cross-device tracking without talking to some degree about privacy. I'll spend just a moment on this. I mean, privacy is a vital consideration in deterministic cross-device tracking. Building user profiles, which is how affiliate windows cross-device tracking works, immediately creates an impression that personally identifiable information about that user is going to be exposed in some way that it shouldn't. And this is something we spent probably the most time developing. Affiliate Windows solution uses an industry standard encryption method that means any information that we use to identify a user within our cross-device tracking is totally and 100% encrypted before it's passed to us or used in tracking. That ensures that no personally identifiable information is ever exposed or used for our cross-device tracking. And this was something that was really fundamental to the development of the solution for us, because while we wanted to create a tracking solution that was robust enough for our advertisers to believe in, they also had to know that the information that on their site about their users was going to be safe and was not going to be used or misused. So running this encryption method alongside our tracking is exceptionally important to ensure that we can run a deterministic solution and ensure that user data is protected. Okay, so that's how we did it, or that's a small overview of how we did it anyway. And finally, the final thing that everybody asks about cross-device tracking is what it means and what we can see. And I'll give you just a brief overview of what we can see. As I've mentioned, building and creating cross-device user profiles is vital for our solution. Currently, we've got about 7 million profiles, and I estimate that this is about 18% of the UK internet population. So what I said about reach earlier in the deterministic solution is definitely valid. The one thing that Affiliate Window can say with certainty, being the biggest affiliate network in the UK, is that we can make a deterministic cross-device tracking solution work better than most other companies of our type in the UK because of our size and because of our market share. It means we can build more profiles and make a more accurate solution than most other companies out there. And 18% of the UK internet population in 6 months is not going too badly, I don't think. Also, obviously, people ask about the number of sales. Around 57,000 total cross-device transactions so far since March, and that equates to £4.2 million of sales revenue. And why that £4.2 million worth of sales revenue is important is because those are all cross-device journeys that have been tracked and rewarded back to our publishers that no one would have been able to see or track without the cross-device technology. And that's really important. As long as there's no other marketing activity that's been in play during the journey, they'll get rewarded back to our publishers, and they wouldn't have been before. And I think that's quite key for our industry, because our industry is able to recognize revenue that wouldn't have been available before. Everybody always asks, what's the average percentage of sales that will be cross-device for each affiliate program? It's about 6%. It can be as high as 20%, and it can be lower than 5%, depending on various factors, particularly how advertisers' mobile sites work and how quickly they ask for logins and how they deal with soft logins. But on average, 6% of sales. By publisher type, these two graphs, cross-device sales by publisher type on the left-hand side, non-cross-device sales on the right. And one key thing I wanted to pick out here is that editorial content sites, which is the bar in orange, track many more cross-device sales, or track more cross-device sales than non-cross-device sales. The percentage of cashback sales tends to go down when you look at a cross-device view, and that's generally because users are trained to complete their cashback purchases on the same device to ensure that it tracks. So interestingly enough, cross-device tracking is actually more important for content-based affiliate websites than non-cross-device tracking. And finally, just before I finish, the other thing that people always ask is about initiating devices and how this looks. And I think this is quite interesting. On the left-hand side, we have initiating devices, cross-device in blue and non-cross-device in orange. You can see that non-cross-device desktop sales are much more common than cross-device ones. But when we look at smartphone and tablet on the right-hand side, smartphone and tablets initiate many more cross-device purchases, or more cross-device purchases than they do non-cross-device purchases. And for me, that shows us that we're on the right track, because to track smartphone and tablet activity correctly, we need that cross-device tracking. One other thing I would say is that desktop sales generally across the network are still the most common. On the right here, we have initiating devices by period of the day. And the one point I wanted to make about this, if you recall our journey from Camera Price Buster to Curry's, and the journey starting in the morning and ending it in the evening. This is actually borne out by our data. If you look at the first 8 hours of the day at the top, you get lots and lots of traffic from smartphone and tablets. But if you look at the time period by sales, you get far less conversions. And generally speaking, the trend is to get more desktop conversions and more desktop conversions later in the day. And that illustrates that journey I showed you, that really is the fundamental reason that we need cross-device tracking, is not something that is a whim from our heads, but is something that's actually borne out by the data that we can see, is actually happening on the network. And because it's happening on the network, we need to be able to track it. And that brings me to the end of our cross-device tracking webinar for today. Thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it gave you, in some ways, a brief but hopefully insightful overview into why cross-device tracking is important for us, why we've done it, a little bit about how we've done it, and a little bit about what we're learning. Affiliate Window are presenting at the Performance Marketing Insights Conference at the end of October, where we're going to do a much deeper dive into cross-device tracking on our network. So those of you that are attending that event, we look forward to seeing you there. If you do have any follow-up questions, please pass them over, or don't hesitate to email strategy@affiliatewindow.com, and we'll post a follow-up on our blog. Thank you very much for listening.